Hey, it's your girl Megan. This month we are still supporting the Trevor Project. There will be information in that on the description on YouTube and on Spotify, and there will still be stuff about Palestine in there. If you would like to provide aid in any way, there will still be information about that. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you all enjoy the episode. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate nothing you can ever.
I swear on my life I forgot the words. Okay, thank you. Sorry. It's every time. Do it again.
Hey, pals, buds, and lovelies. Welcome to Mooning Musing with
Hannah
and Megan.
Are we doing that? Are we keeping that?
You go ahead. I can just cut all this out.
Give me another clap. Give me another point. Let's go. Hey, pals, buds, and lovelies. Welcome back to Mooning and Musing with
Megan
and Hannah.
Hoo-hoo.
Oh, we're bringing that
Happy Pride. What you been mooning and musing about?
I know it's like really. It's my nothing. I can't. Nothing. Nothing's coming to mind. What have I been mooning and musing about recently? I'm really excited about the Olympics.
That's this year.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
the summer ones?
A lot of the qualifying stuff is going on right now.
You know what? I knew that because I saw about Gabby Douglas breaking her ankle.
Yeah,
or hurting it. I don't know if she broke it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
that
had
didn't register though that was probably like happening.
I was like really focusing on the beach volleyball stuff, and I was watching some of the competitions because it's like point based. Like you have these tournaments and like there's the bronze, silver. Oh my god, silver and gold, and like if you get the gold, that's the highest point, and it's all based off of like how many points you have and if you're able to even qualify for the Olympics themselves. I don't even know all the details, but I love beach volleyball and it's fun to watch that. So.
Period. I'm happy that you're going to be enjoying that.
I'm excited for the Olympics, and I'm excited to watch all the sports that I never
Is this
ever
the one
watched.
that has gymnastics?
Yeah. Dude,
okay.
No, I love the summer ones. Nothing against the winter ones.
Oh, I have a lot. Well, I really like the figure skaters. That's really the only thing I care about, though. You don't love figure skaters?
That's why I was hesitating, because that's like, I'm not saying I don't love that, but like,
that shit's
that's not
mad
the first
impressive.
thing that pops up. No, it all is. Think about everything that every single one of
the only I see what you're saying, and we're going about this different because you have a different type of interest in sports than I do.
Yeah.
I want the outfits and the makeup and also the zest of the dance. I don't just want to see you go down something fast on ice. She's saying it like I don't like that.
She's saying it like I also don't like that.
Okay, well, Hannah also likes that, but I don't give a good goddamn about the athletic prowess that it takes to go really fast on a bobsled. I just don't. I'm sure that is impressive.
I don't care about the bobsledders.
Well, I can't think of anything else except maybe hockey that they even have.
I just recently started watching some of it because that shit is on in the break room at work.
I think they have skiing. Skiing, hockey, skeleton, bobsledding.
Skeleton?
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
I swear it's a real thing.
I believe you, but what is it?
It's really fast on a sled as well. I don't know why it's different from bobsledding. It's probably a different type of sled. I think they go on their bellies.
Is it just a person?
One guy, yeah.
Skeleton.
Or a girl.
Got it. I understand. It's one skeleton. That's also really weird to call it that.
I don't like that. I'm hoping that's not where that came from.
Like dangerous.
Dang. Well, I wanted to ask you on the episode. So, House of the Dragon's coming out, which that's what I've been mooning and musing about.
I've been purposefully, I want to be so shocked. So I purposely have been avoiding looking at pictures, promos.
There's only really not much.
Right. So I haven't even seen a little bit. I did see, though, on Brittany Broski's, Instagram, her interviewing. She was, on the carpet interviewing them, which, of course, she is, but I'm not. But they do have some really hot people on Team Green, which I get why she's over there.
Well, she's thinking with her peener.
Right.
She's not thinking with her.
And I didn't. Look, I can appreciate the beauty over there, but I'm...
Yeah.
Give me red all the fucking way. So
I've also been a Matt Smith girly since he played Doctor Who. He was such a good Doctor Who. He was so quirky.
I'm here for, it's Emma Darcy, right? That's their name?
Yeah, either that or like RC, which is how I read it in my brain. But
it has the D comma RC, but it's like RC. I just don't think they're gonna ask you to call him the RC.
A little bit of prosecco in it. Stop in.
I bring that back. I love her accent, Olivia Cook. That's her name, right?
A lovely,
that's accent. A lovly English accent.
Also, Emma Darcy. This is they them pronouns.
Yeah, it's they them.
Just so y'all know.
I'm gonna say their name like that from now on anyway.
I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'm going with it. But I was going to ask you, because I was thinking about Game of Thrones, the original, how you would have ended that show. Also,
that's such a bit. Oh my god! Fact. Wait, what are you? Wait.
You know what I'm about to say. Hannah watched it. She lied to all of us and told us she finished it, but actually didn't. So she just recently saw the last 3 episodes.
When Megan says recently, this is forever ago now that I've watched the last
year.
It's like forever ago. Look, a little insight into my brain, okay? When I watch something and I see where it's going and I see that the end is coming, I'm like, you know what? I don't need it. I can wait. I don't need to see that. And I also figured out all the endings with it anyway because it was the spoilers were just coming out. So I was like, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was like, so there's no need for me to watch it. So then when I was forced to watch it anyway, I was like, it still wasn't it just gave me nothing.
There's principle to just finishing a thing.
Right, and I'm a person that doesn't care about that principle.
Oh, I do.
There are so many shows I still haven't finished because I just can't get myself to do it.
Another one is the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Me and Hannah watched all of that together, and we have still not watched the last season.
Season 4, I think, was the last one, right?
And I don't think we ever will.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Hurt. But there's just no way we could watch it without the other one, so...
But season 1 and 2 of that show...
So good.
Literally
so
10
good.
out of 10, I would say.
And season 2, got even better. And sometimes shows don't do that. Anyway, weird. How would I end Game of Thrones? That's too big of a question to ask me. So,
who would you have liked? This
to
is
see
about
on
to
the
have
throne?
Spoilers. This is about to have spoilers. If you have not watched all of Game of Thrones, skip the next I don't know, minute. Check back in. I don't know. But anyway, I hated that Bran ended up on I hated that it ended with Bran on the throne.
Yeah,
I was.
Well, when he turned, what is it, the
three-eyed raven?
Yeah, I don't. There was some. This is just me. Now I'm getting a little petty with it, but there was something about how the actor fucking spoke. They got
for
me
Bran?
pissed
or
off.
The old man?
For Bran. When he, after everything that had happened, and this was years later, it's farther into the show, the way he fucking spoke was just so he would just got on my nerves all the time if we were just hanging out. And if that was my brother and then it was no longer my brother, I don't know. It's just all about that. I don't know. Everybody was so... I guess when you're in the world of Game of Thrones, you're just so used to shit not ever working out for you. So it's Bran's not my brother anymore. Cool. I don't know. I just hated how that happened.
Well, that was more my issue than how he actually spoke. Was the vibes.
I said I was getting petty, dude.
Yeah, of when they came up. But I think we're saying the same thing. But when they would come up to him and try to hug him and he'd be like...
So it's you couldn't, for their sake, give them a hug back? I don't know. He knows that, how they... I mean, that's another grievance against him.
Why is the inference that if you become, really smart and all-knowing, that you can't have a personality anymore? Because why did you... where'd all the zest go? I know he had a little, little personality in him, and now he's just too smart to have one. That's not how that works. If anything, he would get really funny. I feel like...
I suppose being shoved out a fucking window also really changes someone, though, no?
But he still had a little zest before, after that.
He kind of did, actually. Yeah. I didn't mind his character, even after all of that, and his story with that, yeah.
It was when he became the three-eyed raven
truly
that
did,
everything went weird.
Yeah.
And I was like... I just feel if you were all-knowing, you would just get really funny. That's what I think would happen. You would actually get more
because you'd have to start making, jokes about it.
Right.
Because it's oh...
But instead we got bland, boring Bran on the throne. I wanted to see Dany on the throne. I wish they wouldn't have had her do what she did that last season.
That's what I also don't understand. It's the same... I feel a bunch of people have said it too. Just with, but I don't understand how she got to where she did in her brain. How they made her character...
I think they were trying to make it seem like she was just grieving. Was it Miss Sandy? I can't remember what the name was.
I don't know how to, maybe
you know
that's
who I'm talking about if you've seen it. But when she died, I think she like went into like a grief spiral. But the way Danny was the whole show about not like being all for the common person, there's no way she would take it out on the common people of King's Landing. She just she definitely would have avenged her friend, but would not have taken out innocents.
Who her real enemies were. You know, right. She wouldn't just willy-nilly kill people who had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. So that, to me, on the writers, felt like a serious character assassination. And I would have rather seen her, Jon, or Sansa on the throne. Arya, I don't think that was ever going to be her path.
She didn't want that. She never wanted that type of spotlight.
Yeah. Any of the other ones I would have been happier with than Bran.
Though. I understand wanting her on the throne, but I liked where they had Sansa.
Yeah, well, I think Dany should have taken the throne, not done what she did, but taken out Cersei, and then just gave the North back to the Starks, and just let that be independent
right, because
territory.
I don't think she fucking needed the North.
She didn't.
If anything, there would have been like a nice alliance,
right?
Like a clear contract of what they were doing. We're going so far into this, but seriously, it's such a. Sansa should have stayed in the North. They could like seriously, that was her spot, and I think that's where she's supposed to stay. But I do agree that Dany should have been on the throne, and then they could have had a nice alliance. And I mean, like Jon could have stuck around with Dany.
Jon could have been king consort or queen consort. No, what's the word? Consort to the queen. Yeah, because you can't give them the king label because that always trumps queen. Which why don't we just make the girl the king? I just don't think it should. I
thought king and queen are just equivalent. But anyway, no, like a queen can move a lot more on the fucking chessboard than a king can. So suck my toes.
Well, I don't know why okay, this is just going really deep, but why is the term king like gendered? If that's like just the highest thing, we can just use that for Dany too.
Why is it gendered? That's a great question, Megan. Do you think maybe it eventually got gendered with, you know?
I think it's probably started gendered because they were always men, but I don't think in I'm just talking out my butt. I don't know the definition of the word king.
Are. Like, a lot of this is just coming from our brains and only our brains. It's not like we did any research on any of that.
That was a profound moment for me, which Kylie Jenner has come up on this podcast more than I'd like. I didn't know I thought about Kylie Jenner this much.
It is you, by the way, too, because this is you bringing her up for the next time.
When she made her Snapchat name King Kylie, I was like,
I didn't know she did that.
I can use that term as well.
Well, I mean, I feel like...
So that was cool.
Yeah, I just don't think I'd give off king, but yeah, anybody could use it.
Anyway, we're continuing our Pride.
Anyway, happy Pride. It's still Pride Month.
It is still Pride Month, and we have some more subjects for you all that pertain to Pride.
Yes, and I want to knock mine out first, if that's okay. Because it's not like it's a boring one, but I'm more excited for what Megan's going to talk about. So I'll dive into mine, get a little...
And I don't know anything about it, really.
Yeah. I just thought I'd pick a topic, so... Oh my god. The chords. Oh my god.
Because you hold your microphone so funny.
So I wanted to talk about the Black Cat Tavern. I thought I'd pick a topic. Megan talked about the Stonewall Inn last episode. For those that watched... Long pause. Please watch. Anyways, the Black Cat Tavern actually was established in November of 1966. So this is the same time period of when, was it 69? When that whole thing happened with Stonewall? Okay, so get this. This is what got me more than anything. Was it established in November of 66? I keep getting off topic, but I also have a feeling with a lot of gay bars and stuff like that in that time period, I feel like a lot of them popped up and then were like gone and then popped. Like, I feel like it was like a lot of quick things quick like turnover. That. Because they got raided and, you know, couldn't have the liquor license or could, you know, like it was just hard to establish.
But there was also oppression.
Right. So it's like, anyways, established in 66, then that new year, so it was in November, so just in a couple months later, the several plainclothes LAPD officers infiltrated the tavern. Okay, so fuck you guys coming in some regular ass clothes. I'm just curious what they were wearing.
But what are they looking for? Were they always busting them on liquor license stuff, or was it just you weren't allowed to be publicly gay?
Publicly gay. Now get this. When did they do this? New Year's Eve. So what are you gonna see? Couples kissing.
Oh,
and
very
celebrating
true.
New Year's Eve because it's a new year and you wanted to celebrate it with the person you were with. So like,
Oh,
yeah.
where's this
So there's a
going?
little sad thing. Well, obviously it was rated. Like
Yeah.
So. Let's see what I wrote down. Okay, so arrested several patrons for kissing, obviously celebrating the occasion, and began beating several patrons as well. Arrested 14 for assault and public lewdness. 2 bartenders were beaten unconscious. 2 patrons ran to another gay bar, but were followed and arrested. And the
goodness.
officers also mistook the manager, a woman named Lee, Roy, okay, Lee, and for a man wearing a dress, Leroy, and beat her severely because they were like, oh no, a man in a dress. But
Oh man.
yeah, so anyway, that whole thing, horrible. 1966, so just a few years before the Stonewall Inn. But like this was like a common occurrence, I think, in any gay bar, like any place like that, any safe space for any queers was just dangerous.
Yeah.
But it led to a civil demonstration of about 200 attendees to protest the raids. And this was February 11th in 1967. So it happened a couple months later. But the way that they were able to group everybody together was secret phone trees. And if you know what like a phone tree is like you have the top name and then it branches down and that person calls that person and then that call like it goes... And it could be like a big tree or just something little.
It looks
but
like branches because one person keeps
and the
calling
only
different people.
reason I know that is because of practical magic.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah. If you all know that movie, it's a wonderful movie. And I'm going to consider it a gay movie. So, do you not agree?
I don't remember what you're talking. Who's gay?
It's just giving gay. I don't mean that they were gay. I mean it's giving queer.
But everyone was straight.
She's not getting it. I don't mean
get the
literally.
vibes, but I mean
I don't mean
literally everyone.
literally. I don't mean literally. There was no literal gays.
Just
Not that
the
I know
vibe.
of.
You just
Yeah,
feel like it was giving
just
queer.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, period.
Am I not allowed to claim it?
I don't.
Am I not allowed to take it?
Hey, I'm not taking.
It's witchy as hell,
I'm
and I
not
just
the,
feel like we could hang out with the witches.
Yeah, I agree. I think they would get along.
I'm starting to get hot. I'm
sorry.
feeling under the spotlight. Feel my cheeks.
Hannah is confirmed. Very hot.
Anyway, they used secret phone trees organized by a group called Pride, which is Personal Rights in Defense and Education, founded by Steve Ginsburg, whoever that is. Good job.
Probably Ruth Bader Ginsburg's son. I'm just kidding. She was that old though.
I couldn't even tell you.
And that's why she should have given up her seat earlier. Anyways.
It's making me even hotter. Okay, anyway. Organized by a group called Pride and also the SCCRH, Southern California Council on Religion and Homophile, which is just homophile is like having to do with a gay person. But it was... This is how it was described. Met by squadrons of armed police, but the demonstrators carefully adhered to all the laws and ordinances, so the police had no legitimate reasons to make arrests. Not meaning like that they weren't like dicks about it, but like there was no legitimate reason to arrest any of these people, these 200 plus like people, this huge group.
They were smart
so
about
I'm
it.
sure exactly because you have to be because they're gonna look for any reason to fuck you up.
Still.
Yeah. Which is why I thought this was also just a good thing to talk about. This event was the first organized public LGBTQ protest in Los Angeles and one of the earliest and largest in the country. I don't know if that's still obviously accurate today, but like then, that was a pretty big deal.
And that was 2 years before Stonewall.
Yeah, that was 1967. And because of this, like, I thought I would, like, wait, that's not even yet. But I thought I'd add that in with, like, it's hard to pinpoint when anything, like, truly, like, started, where people were just getting sick and tired of being oppressed. But it was, like like this was 1967, and there were even a few times with like there was something like a cafeteria riot or something like that. That was years before that. There was something in the 50s that happened too, but it's not to say that these queer people weren't, you know, fighting back and just being passive with everything. It was just nothing was coming. Like, nothing was happening after, like, people got pissed off and, like, would protest, you know? It was just, it is, I'm sure in that time period, too, with, like, the technology they had at the time, you know, it's, like, it's hard to get a group together and get shit done, I'm sure.
It also is, like, and this is really ironic considering how this country was founded based on, like, essentially a giant protest.
Yeah.
But our laws are not public organization friendly, if that makes sense. Like, they do everything they can to try to keep any, like, marginalized group from congregating and making plans together. Which is, by the way, probably why they're trying to get TikTok taken down.
Probably, because it's pretty easy to band together.
To organize and band together. And as soon as you have an organized, like, group of marginalized people who have gotten the ball rolling.
Yeah. Okay, and I wanted to add this little tidbit in because I thought it was necessary to know that during this, like, protest that they did in February, the governorship, it was under Ronald Reagan. And so with his vibe, it was very law and order mentality. It reigned, you know, and police brutality was systemic. You know what I mean? So, like, keep that in.
Yeah, you'll notice some common themes with this, with if you were paying attention in 2020 to the Black Lives Matter movement and how the police handled that.
Yeah.
There seems like they have, like, you know, a playbook that they stuck by for the next 50 years.
I wonder where they got that playbook.
So.
Yeah, but on a lighter note, in 2008, the Black Cat site was declared a Los Angeles Historic Cultural Monument. And they installed a plaque recognizing it as a site of the first LGBTQ civil rights demonstration in the nation, which is pretty cool. I think maybe it's a different building now, too. Like, they have the original, but then they maybe, like, moved.
Rebuilt.
Yeah, or something like that. But, and then in 2021, the Answer Coalition, which is Act Now to Stop War and End Racism, it's a U.S.-based protest umbrella group consisting of many anti-war and civil rights organizations. But they organized a march that started at the Black Cat Tavern. And advocated for an end to police brutality, racism, homophobia, and trans violence. That was in 21. So, yeah, I just, you know, another, you know, place similar
Besides
to
Stonewall.
the Stonewall Inn. Yeah, so it's like, I feel like there are so many of those out there where, you know, they're like, you know, I'm just trying, you know, give a little more attention to it. Because they're everywhere, I think, then we just don't know about them.
Yeah.
And I feel like some are just going to be lost. Because, like, they have images and photos from that. But, like, you know, like, some people just, you know, weren't cared about at all. So it's like we're not even going to know about some of the places.
Yeah. It's important also to, like, remember that this history, and not just with queer history, but, like, just civil rights in general for any group, this is all, like, relatively modern history. So
yeah, it truly is.
And don't let it be erased. And I can't believe that I came out of grade school thinking that all of these social issues were just a thing of the past.
We're, like, checked off and done, and we were moving on to the next bigger issue. It's like, no, we still have so many that we just haven't
unpacked fully.
Yeah.
We'll probably spend the next, like,
lifetime.
Century. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's gonna be our lifetime.
My subject I chose was compulsory heterosexuality.
Fun topic, Megan.
Yeah.
Great choice.
So this is a very interesting topic, which I feel like a lot of people, except for obviously, like, queer people, have to think about this a lot, but other people might not know a whole lot about this. So I
think this is a good one. This is why I was so excited to dive into this.
I wrote the definition from the American Psychological Association, and it's defined as the assumption that heterosexuality is the standard for defining normal sexual behavior. So it's similar to, like, I saw this tweet one time that talked about how everything is designed for right-handed people.
It is. I feel really bad for the lefties.
And if you run around trying to do everything with your left hand, everything's going to feel a little bit off. And that's kind of how it feels being, I don't know, like, it just doesn't feel like everything's made for you, if that makes sense. Or like a lot of the time you can't find something that's made for you.
Yeah.
To like go to your taste or your left-handedness or whatever culture you're a part of. So a lot of the time, if you're a queer person, which that's not going to be as obvious to you, like if you're born with the oppression of being like a Black person, obviously you're going to know that from birth. Whereas with sexuality, that's something you have to figure out over time. And compulsory heterosexuality makes it really difficult sometimes for people to even know that they're queer.
Yeah, to even know that you have something to unpack.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's so normal, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's that, like you just assume that that is your norm. So
Yeah.
it's like, why do I even need to think about it or unpack it? Like, I just know that that's what I like.
Yeah. So it's like when you're a kid and you're watching like a Disney movie and you see like the straight couple, you just assume that's going to be you.
Yeah.
And you don't really think about it too much until you get older and you kind of have to.
Yeah.
But I think most people, I mean, there's obviously the rare few that are like, I knew I was gay when I was 5. And like that, of course, happens. But if you're like, especially if you're on the bisexual spectrum.
It depends on your upbringing too. Because, man, I knew I was interested. When I was at a young age, child. But like I knew the norm. Like I was, so like, yeah. Even if you did know, I mean, you wouldn't even want
to try
unpack that. Yeah, because
I had a different experience of it.
See, it's
very
keep
nuanced.
going. Yeah, keep going.
But my experience of it was because I did have the attraction to men. I just assumed that my attraction to girls was friendship, was something different.
Oh, you summed it up like that.
Yeah.
So my brain was more like I knew I was interested in whoever, but I noticed when I was hanging out with all the girls that they weren't chatting about themselves like that either. So I was like, okay, cool, we're just with the boys. Got it.
Well, I would make commentary about girls being, because I just thought we all just were like, oh, she's cute type thing.
That was not my personality anyway, to say somebody was cute.
So I feel like your experience was probably a little unique in how many conservative people, like even for children, you might have been around.
Yeah.
Because of the upbringing is just different. But yeah, I couldn't figure out why I had like friends that I was like, I would feel jealous when other people started getting close with them, and I would. It was very homo of me.
Yeah, it was very like, okay.
But I had some that I was like, why do I feel so jealous? Like,
why am I so pissed off that they're...
Yeah, why am I... And, like, that's my favorite, like, person.
Yeah, that is my person and only mine. You're not allowed to talk to them.
But my crushes on boys were very similar, but I just didn't even recognize my crushes on girls because I was like, that's
just not how it works. Right. That's just not how it works.
So that definitely affected me.
Yeah, because if that was what you told yourself, even if you had certain experiences growing up, if that's what you told yourself, that's what you were taking. Like you were like that was written in stone. Because that's how my brain was too. It was like, nope, that's a no-go. That's your friend. And it's like, you like them boys. And it was like, call it a day. And then it wasn't until you get to a certain age that you're like...
Well, there's also like... the queer coding where like now that I'm older, I know that fried green tomatoes, they were so together.
Well, it was in the book. Like it was maybe not in the way that we would want it now.
When I first watched it, and I was like, oh, that's the kind of friendships I'd be having. But they were gay. Anyway.
That's a good movie.
So yeah, I've seen some discourse that bisexual people can't be affected by it. But
and that's
I
like
understand
so
that stance, I do, but it's so untrue.
It's so not true.
Yeah. And I think that we kind of have, like, I don't know, bisexuals are kind of ostracized a little bit. Not by everybody.
Not by everybody. Well, we have a problem with this big group, this LGBTQ. Like, it's like we are such a big group and we welcome so many people, but then you've still got some people that are so, they want those boxes and they don't like if you're,
Yeah. But
because that's a little out of the box.
Yeah, the lesbian experience of it is different because they assume like they get so deep in their heads. And I read this from like affirmativecouch.com, and it was the article I read was trying to teach therapists how to help with compulsory heterosexuality. But it said that lesbians a lot of the time it takes them so long to realize that they're lesbians because they're just forcing themselves to be like, oh, I'm straight, I must be straight. And they're trying not to think about it too much.
So much so that, like, sometimes where it's like, you, like, try out a few different people, and you're like, well, I didn't feel with this one, but I know, like, it's because that person's not, like, I haven't found that person yet, or that man yet, more often than not type thing, when that's not the case.
Yeah, that's not what it is every time.
Yeah.
Which that is kind of bisexuality, though. Like, there's people with preferences, but if you're sitting there thinking, like, oh, if this man was just like this, I could like him, and if that's true for you, that's the bisexual spectrum. Like, I don't...
that's another thing.
Which, like,
yeah.
You don't have to fit yourself into a box either, though.
No, you don't have to. But you can be open.
Right.
I do like openness, yeah.
And I also made a point to write down with this that, like anything, this is rooted in the patriarchy. Like, a lot of queer issues, I feel like we miss a lot of how everything intersects. But, like, feminism, fighting the patriarchy, fighting white supremacy, all that kind of stuff falls under the umbrella of if we just dismantle patriarchy, we can take care of a lot of these issues
will start to unravel.
If you dismantle patriarchy, one of the first things that's going to happen is everyone's going to be more comfortable being more empathetic towards your fellow person, and then immediately
it's like a domino effect. It's really weird.
And caring about other people's issues.
Yeah.
If we just let ourselves feel. Y'all seen the Barbie movie?
I loved that sentence, Megan. I loved that sentence.
Yeah, but
I really wish people
doesn't value feelings and emotions.
Like it's some kind of weak.
It's feminine.
And it's like
feminine.
You have no idea the strength behind that. To understand your emotions, to express them with somebody else, for somebody else to express emotions back, to have a connection like that. That's the deepest connection you can ever have. And those people who can't or cut themselves off from that. Like, I feel so sorry for those people because they are going to die and not even know that type of love. I don't know. They're just going to they're so unaware. Like, they have closed themselves off to so many opportunities.
The grind culture we've been talking about, too, is also very much rooted in patriarchy. So pretty much, like, remember when Ken said that he realized it wasn't all about horses? He didn't even want anything to do with it anymore? I think that should be all our stances. It doesn't have anything to do with horses. We should just let it go.
Just let it go.
Just let it go. That's an original by me. That was not a quote. Anyway, so the term compulsory heterosexuality was coined by this really cool poet named Adrienne Rich.
Cool name.
Which I wrote down a bunch of stuff about her, too, because when I looked her up, she was so freaking cool, and I can't wait to tell you about her.
I don't know anything. Like, Megan was doing the research, and I didn't ask any details, so I'm really excited to learn this with everybody else. Please continue.
But she coined it, I wanted to, like, reference where it came from, in an essay called Compulsory Heterosexuality and Lesbian Existence, which was published in 1980. So that was pretty cool. Okay.
Whew, cool chill.
Did you want to say any more about your experience?
With Compet?
Yeah.
I mean, I could keep going.
Or how you feel like you kind of overcame that?
Well, I still struggle, like, now, with, like, being so sure that I'm attracted to people. But, like, I know that I am.
You're not feeling gay enough.
Or, like, I don't even want to say straight enough because I'm outside of the gender binary too, so it's like I don't even know how to explain.
I've seen that a lot of people like lesbian I've been seeing be used by more like even trans men have been calling themselves lesbians, and non-binary people.
Well, I don't even know if
they're trying to kind of remove the gender binary from the words.
Period. Well, I was gonna say something like, am I like being straight enough or gay enough? Like it's both ways. Do I like men enough? But you don't have to like them the same amount. It's not, that's the thing. I have to constantly remind myself.
Well, for you, so you described it as more of like an energy thing than a body thing.
That's why I constantly am like, damn, do I still like men? And it's like, no, I really do like that masculine energy a lot. I really do.
A lot of actual men, though, or like not actual men, cis men do it like in a toxic way.
Right.
Toxic masculinity.
Which is why, like, my whole relationship with masculinity has been an interesting topic, too. So it's like, yeah, I still struggle with the compet stuff.
And I said cis men, but trans men also sometimes have an issue with toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
It's not just a cis men issue.
Yeah. And that almost like, and that like kind of comes from when you're so closeted for so long too. It's like you have your second, like, I wouldn't call it puberty, but for just the best thing I can use right now, but like for your second puberty almost, because if you're closeted, so then you come out and you show even more of who you really are. So then you're seeing how other boys acted. So then like that gets toxic. And it's like, because the examples you have of masculinity aren't always good, which
Very
sucks.
true.
And I love that energy. A good masculine energy is hot, but it's like we haven't gotten the good hot in a minute. So
yeah, they're out there though.
They really are.
I never want to be the person that's like not all men, but there are good ones out there.
Yeah, that's why I would never just completely turn myself off from. If I, was...
You just have high standards.
I have very high standards. So, like, I'm allowed to, like, not give somebody more of my attention when they... Yeah, because I just, like, if I miss out on that person, like, I miss out on that person. Yeah. That's how I feel about
I don't think you've missed out on anything thus far.
I don't think I have either.
I can stand by that.
So I think I'm pretty okay with my mentality with that. So, yeah. Anyway, still struggle with compet. But
yeah, it's probably an ongoing thing. It's probably one of those things you have to consistently deconstruct throughout your life.
Yeah,
because once something's in there from childhood, it's real hard to get out.
It's from childhood. Well, what was I? Like, I was a little kid, and I knew that I was into girls, but, like, no, none of the other girls were, like, really being vocal about that. So then I was like, okay, so we just like the boys, period. But, like, so then I had that whole back and forth thing. But anyways, see what I'm saying? I could talk about this forever.
It's very complex.
Yeah.
Nuanced.
Yeah, man. So.
All right. So Adrienne Rich.
Yeah, I want to know about her life. I want to know how much of a badass she really was.
I'm going to try really hard not to just reach straight from this.
It doesn't really matter.
She was a lesbian poet and essayist. And so she was like a prodigy. Okay. Yes. So her dad was a renowned pathologist at Johns Hopkins, which Johns Hopkins...
Period. Okay.
You knew. Yeah,
I know.
So he's serious.
I fucking know.
He considered her a baby genius. Like, that's how he described her to his friends. And she could play
Imagine,
Mozart.
I'm picturing him carrying her around. Sorry, he probably wouldn't even be carrying her. If she's a genius, she's probably just walking casually in a business suit. He's like, this is my baby genius.
The conscious baby.
The conscious baby.
Yeah,
she was actually the first one that came out. What year was this?
The conscious baby.
She was born in 1929. Okay, so this was insane. Okay, baby genius. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so she could play Mozart on the piano by the age of 4, which that's crazy. And she wrote her first volume of poems.
I think I literally, like...
by the age of 6. That was her first poetry.
I was literally going to say, like babies are playing with their fucking poop. Still at the age of 4. And that bitch literally said she played Mozart. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that's about all I could find on her, like, adolescence, I guess, if you can even call 6 years old adolescence, but for her it probably was. So she graduated from Radcliffe in 1951, with her poetry work being chosen to feature in Yale's Young Poets series.
That's pretty cool.
So she's published in, like, a Yale poem collection.
Still, like, quite, like, that's extremely young. That's extremely young to get to be published like that. That's impressive as hell, man.
And then after that, she was awarded a fellowship and continued studying at Oxford. So she's super
a fellowship?
well educated.
Yeah, okay. So if that gets you going, if people really like that type of stuff on their resume, yeah, that's impressive. Keep going.
So
Tell
she
me
was
more,
mad
Megan.
impressive. Like, so that was my way of saying that, like, she stood on business with her poems. Like, she knew how to write. She was very well spoken.
Yeah,
and I did save us a poem I'm going to read you guys at the end of this.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
So she ended up traveling and teaching while also publishing her super successful work. Super successful. She people bought her work, which I don't know if any of y'all have ever bought a poetry book, but I feel like poems have to be pretty freaking good.
Poems have to be really good. And also, not to always make it about this, but like she was a woman. In what time period was she releasing her work?
Oh, you're asking. Probably like the 50s. She was releasing work her whole life.
I was asking, yeah.
So it was like...
So, okay, yeah. Like, that is just mad impressive. As a woman in that time period, that's mad impressive. Yeah, and it gets more impressive. While doing this, she was also participating in a lot of activism for... Hard to not to. Well, she was ahead of her time. That's right. Like, in her life, in her brain, I'm sure she saw issues and was like wanting to do stuff, so that makes sense too. So she was big on civil rights, feminist issues, and queer issues, like all of the above. She got married. I didn't see much information on her husband at all, outside of the fact that she left him in the 70s and he promptly killed himself. So that was really sad. That did make me feel a little bad. Just a little side note, not saying that this is the main reason he may have killed himself, because how am I to know this? I'm just making this up as I go along, but like there's other people that are going to get hurt when, like, with our society and people needing to be closeted and not even knowing that they're queer in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. And then you hurt somebody, and what did you say? They were married for, like, what, 20-ish years? And that's, like, a whole life with someone. Like, and you really know someone when you're married to them for 20 years. Well, that's also one of those things, though, where, like, there's nothing you can do, like, at all. Well, I'm not saying that would make someone else's suicide your fault. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm saying, like, that was something that could have easily been prevented. Yeah, him getting hurt in the process. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I agree. But I don't blame her for it, though. That's my main thing of what I'm saying, is that so many lives, you know, like, would not have been taken or hurt because of that. And I'm not saying it's her fault at all. I'm just saying that fucking sucks. Yeah. That's why I wrote it down. That fucking sucks, man. I that is something to be taken away. Yeah, it's like, married for 20 years, they divorce, and later he commits suicide. Yeah. Yeah. So after that, she came out as a lesbian. And that also, that shows her strength to come out. If you're married to somebody for 20 years, I wonder if she was like, maybe I can stick it out. Maybe I can just stay with him. I know him really well. We're good friends. Well, I was thinking the other way, and, like, you do kind of get to a point in your life, though, where you're like, if I do only live once, I have got to try to make the most of this that I can. It's hard to live inauthentic, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people are not living like their true selves. That's hard. Yeah. I'm sure that shit hurts. But by 1978, anyways, 8 years later, she came out with a collection of lesbian love poems. And it's called 21 Love Poems, and it was one of the first, like, published pieces of content that had to do with lesbian love. Hell fucking and it was extremely popular. Like, it was so, like... Whoa, dude, hot off the presses, I'm sure it was gone in seconds, dude. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure everybody was flocking to that, dude. Yeah, dude, they had been dying for some content, man. I can't imagine living in a time period like that where I didn't get my gay shit. Are you serious? Yeah. And you can't even, like... take a straight novel and, like, just imagine, because the vibes are so different. So different. And this is where compulsory heteronormativity comes in, because the vibes are so different. Sometimes you don't notice. Sometimes it takes you a little bit to notice the difference. Anyways. So she did that, and she had her little girlfriend who was also a writer, and her name was Michelle Cliff, and they were together for over 30 years. It's hard to get a pinned down timeline on this because she was not autobiographical, and I don't think people were really, like, keeping up the way that they would now. So I don't even know the years on that. But she was very big on calling out non-intersectional feminism, which is what I mean when I say she's ahead of her time. That is ahead of her time. Yeah. That's insane. Because like, we're doing that now and struggling with that. So the fact that she was saying that, what do you say, 80s going to 90s? 70s. Like, oh, yeah. Pardon. Which there were, like, people that were worried about, like, black feminism, but most of the mainstream feminism was very much white feminism, dealing with only issues that pertain to white women and not
Black women as well who have, there's some overlap in the problems, of course, but that's a completely different set of issues, and you don't have true equality until everyone's taken care of. So really cool that she noticed that before it was like a mainstream topic, which is just now kind of happening.
Which is
in the 2020s.
Yeah, dude.
So she was also big on the AIDS epidemic. She spoke out for that a lot, which, by the way, I wanted to put this fun fact in there. The L is first in LGBTQ. It used to be the G first because of all the work that lesbians did with the AIDS epidemic.
With the AIDS epidemic, yeah. They were the caregivers because they weren't afraid to...
Yeah, because it wasn't based in homophobia.
Yeah, dude.
Yep. So, yeah, here's another really cool thing she did, and this is the one I was most excited about. In 1997, Rich declined the National Medal of Arts, which is...
I already like where this is going, because she declined an award.
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to eat this up. 97, you say? We weren't alive yet? Damn it.
Right before.
I love when I'm alive when real shit like this happens.
So that's the government's highest award for artists.
Say it again. Like sorry, I interrupted her. I want everybody to hear this.
That's the government's highest...
No, sorry. Do the whole thing from the beginning of what it was called.
Okay. National Medal of Arts. It's the U.S. government's highest award for artists.
Okay.
And the reason she turned it down is because she hated the increasingly brutal impact of racial and economic justice. So she was not vibing with that. And that reminded me of Chapel Roan over the
what
weekend.
She just did, yeah. Because that... chills. Because, like... she looked right at the camera when she said that, too, dude.
Do you want to explain what she did?
No, you can do it. You do it. I'm still like chills, man.
Feeling chills. So Chapel Roan
I have tears in my eyes.
At Gov Ball, which I don't actually know what Gov Ball is.
I don't
I'm
either.
It's a music festival.
Yeah.
But she came out dressed as the Statue of Liberty, and she said that she was dressed as in drag as the biggest queen that there was, which I thought was really funny. But she said the White House invited her to perform for Pride at the White House, and she said no until they quit contributing to the oppression of, people in general.
Yes.
Pretty much. So I thought that was really cool. I think it's really cool when we see artists, like, actually back up what they're trying to say.
Yeah. Say it with your whole fucking chest. Like, I can't say that I understand fully being in their shoes and, like, having that type of status but, like, I think they get too clouded with their own personal problems in that little world and bubble that they have and forget that, like, no offense, but, like, what is that? Beautiful people, beautiful problems. It's like, that is not...
Yeah. I think they're also scared of losing
that's not, like,
sponsorships and stuff like that.
It's like they're a little clouded by that stuff. I get that that's scary and, like, they're trying to make a living off of their art.
Don't sell your soul in the process, though.
Where are your morals? Where are your... Yeah, man, like, they're not standing on solid ground at all. Like, they're... Yeah, so Chapel Roan that was beautiful. Yeah. Love that. So that is fucking sick as hell that she said no to that award.
And wasn't the highest so award ahead of her time.
Yeah,
like,
that is insane.
The 90s. She also was Jewish. She found Judaism later in life, but she condemned the Israeli occupation of Palestine in 2009. So that's how long that's been going on. She died in 2012 of rheumatoid arthritis, surrounded by family and her partner, Michelle. So I thought that was really sweet that they did stay together until she died.
Yeah.
So was it worth coming out? I would say yes.
I think it always is. Not forcing people out of the closet. That's not me saying that, like, come out and stuff like that. But, like, I don't know. It just feels so
your authentic
good.
Self.
Yeah.
You might only get one life. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. So it's like, why are we not trying our best to be who we really are?
All right, I gotta find this poem I wanted to read you guys.
Yeah, I'm actually really... Ooh, that's nice. It looks good. Ooh, yeah. Okay, I'm excited to hear your reading voice.
So this is poem 2 from the first book of lesbian love poetry that I had talked about. It's called 21 Love Poems. And now I'm getting also... This feels like singing a song.
Sound like...
I feel like in Lady Parts when she has to read that poem.
Oh, yeah.
That show is really good, by the way. Okay. I wake up in your bed. I know I have been dreaming. Much earlier, the alarm broke us from each other. You've been at your desk for hours. I know what I dreamed. Our friend the poet comes into my room where I've been writing for days. Drafts, carbons, poems are scattered everywhere. And I want to show her one poem, which is the poem of my life, but I hesitate and wake. You've kissed my hair to wake me. I dreamed you were a poem, I say, a poem I wanted to show someone. And I laugh and fall dreaming again of the desire to show you to everyone I love. To move openly together in the pull of gravity, which is not simple, which carries the feathered grass a long way down the upbreathing air.
I have tears in my eyes.
I chose that one because I thought it was really sweet because it's not like, it is profound, but it's not hurtful. Like, it's just sweet that she imagined her lover as a poem that she wanted to show everybody.
It's just sweet.
So I think that that's what people at the time were craving.
Yeah, dude. I'd say so.
Yeah,
I'd say
just
so.
something sweet.
Wanting to show their sweet love for each other. Yeah, man. I just wanted to
talked
show
about
it.
that in the last episode, that it's always, I feel like all the queer media is painful.
Hey, man, we all know the experience. You know, we're all living it. Don't need to be reminded.
Yeah.
Like, can you just give me... Yeah, of course it's important. Like, I don't need every single piece of media that I'm taking in. Oh, God, it's rough. Just give me something so light
Anyone
and
but
sweet.
you, but gay. Something like that. Something silly and goofy.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I just want a silly little rom-com. Chill me out for a little bit.
Yeah. I think that Dakota Johnson one, Am I Okay, on HBO, might be like that.
Has it come out yet, or is it
it's
still...
out.
Oh, it is out?
Yeah, so we'll have to get back to y'all on that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, do you want to do the poem?
Sorry,
not the poem.
I was just thinking out loud. I think a lot of stuff, because it is Pride and, like, summer is coming around and everything, I think we're going to get some movies coming out, but probably not mainstream, like, released in theaters movies. So I'm going to have to do, like, a little dive to find, like, the little small indie films that will be that. But yeah, were you about to ask me about the quote?
Yeah,
I'm actually pretty excited about it.
Did you choose the one we talked about?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, so I am gonna be surprised.
Yeah. It's you.
Oh God, I feel like it's me so often.
And it's from August 3rd, 2021.
Okay.
Not that gives you anything. I'm just, like, teasing you. I like building it up. I know you want to know it so bad.
Well, I try to think what my era was in 2021.
Well, this one's pretty fucking funny, man. I like when his hair is subtle like that instead of fully coiffed.
Well, I had to have been talking about Niall Horan.
Right?
I was obsessed with his quiff.
Fully coiffed, man.
Yeah.
It's subtle like that instead of fully coiffed.
So now that this is out of mainstream culture, the way boys used to do their hair, like One Direction in their peak era, where they'd take the comb and, like, kind of make it stand up on end, is called a quiff.
I mean, yeah, I honestly still kind of eat that up because that was our time period when we were younger. So it's like...
Yeah. I don't know how I would feel if I saw that for real now.
Oh, I wouldn't want
but
that
that's
now.
What I was talking
but
about.
Like,
I
get why you ate that up. Yeah. All fully queefed. Ugh.
Oh, man.
Well, that was a good quote.
I like that quote. That's a good quote.
I feel like we sound so mellow and chill right now and, like,
we
dulled.
Are.
But it's just like...
It's Pride.
Yeah.
We're trying to have a chill time.
Yeah. I'm not super energetic, but, like, I do just feel extremely prideful right now.
Yeah, I think this has been good for us to do our, like, queer research and understand, you know, the roots of the movement.
Yeah.
And why it is the way it is now.
Yeah.
It's because we got past so much other stuff that now we can focus on, like, more nuanced issues.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. So that brings me some joy in my heart, even though some things have been disheartening recently. So that's been nice.
It is really lovely being able to still have fun times.
Yeah. Next Wednesday, y'all. Don't forget about the playlist.
Podcast every Wednesday. Please watch it on YouTube. Please listen to it on Spotify. Hey, man, go ahead, rate, like, comment.
I love when you guys comment.
We actually love interacting with the comments. I found out that the Pride was sold out. Louisville Pride was sold out because of that one comment.
Because of the comments. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you, Allison.
So, yes.
Whoever you are.
Whoever you are, man. I enjoy the comments. I really do.
All right. Next week, y'all.
And the music.
Steve.